Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church, and I'm here today to share another short message from the book of Joel. Now, what I'm going to share today is probably more familiar to you than some of the other passages, but what I want to start with is the remembrance that Joel is a prophet about giving hope in the midst of struggles. All of the stuff that comes in the book of Joel is about how bad off Israel is and how faithful God will be. So, with that in mind, let me read chapter 3. Chapter 2, verses 28 through 32. It reads this way. Then, after doing all those things, this is all of the stuff that's happening, all of the struggles, all of the whatever, the great destructions that's going around. After doing all those things, God says, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams, and your young men will see visions. In those days, I will pour out my spirit even on servants, men and women alike, and I will cause wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood and fire and columns of smoke. The sun will become dark, and the moon will turn blood red. But the terrible day of the Lord arrives. But everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. Well, the book of Acts, chapter 2, when Pentecost comes, says that the prophecy in Joel is being fulfilled today. That's the events in Acts. So you and I live in a time after the fulfillment of this prophecy. Now that's important to note because in the Old Testament, the Spirit of God came upon individuals at specific times for specific purposes and then left. And Joel promised today when the Spirit of the Lord would come and rest on all people for all time. Now, Acts chapter 2 says what's happening right now is the fulfillment of that promise. So you and I live not under the expectations that the Spirit will come and go, but we live under the time when the Spirit of God is available for everybody. It says here, I will pour out my Spirit upon all people. Nobody's left out. The grace, the compassion, the caring of God is for everybody. You, me, guy next door, guy down the road, everybody. And it says here that your sons and daughters will prophesy, your old men will dream dreams, and your young men will see visions. Well, I heard some preacher say a long time ago, this is how you can tell if you're old or young. If you're seeing dreams, you're old. If you're only having visions, you're young. Now, what the guy did not say was clearly what's the difference between the two. So I don't know whether you're old or young. I like to think I'm young. And at least compared to some folks, I really am. But it says these dreams and these visions, he's talking about seeing God. You and I can see God at work. We can see his handiwork. He wants us to see him. He wants us to know that he's right here. He's not late. whatever the problem is. And remember, the book of Joel is about problems, hassles, discouraging times. But in the midst of those, God says, I'm here. And in this case, he says that, there are going to be some real problems in the earth, and some bad things are going to happen. And the day of the Lord will come. Well, the day of the Lord refers to a time in the Bible that's referred to in many places where God comes and ends time as you and I know it. Well, as I've prepared this, the news has told us that the leaders of Russia, or the leader of Russia, has said that use of nuclear weapons isn't off the table. It's an option. And I don't know how anybody in any way, shape, or form can think that a nuclear war is survivable. That is the most outlandish thought anybody could come up with. Maybe you don't know it, but we've got in our country, I don't know the exact number, but it's between 8 and 10,000 nuclear warheads that we can launch against somebody. Russia has about 7,000. Can you imagine a scenario where those things were going back and forth and hitting the ground? I mean, who wants to live after that happens? And it's scary that somebody might make the suggestion that they could do that. The day of the Lord is going to come. There's going to be a time when time is over, as you and I know it. I don't know when that's going to be. I don't think it's going to be tomorrow or the next week. But it doesn't matter when it comes. What matters is, where are you in God's standing when it does come? It says here, everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. God gives you and me the option to choose how we want to live. Now, I've talked all week, and I've actually talked for several years now on these devotionals of how God cares about us. And I've been right every time. And if I continue for several more years, I'll still be right every time, because there's no question, there's no doubt. Doesn't matter what you feel, doesn't matter what you think, doesn't matter what's going on. God cares about you and me. And so we don't have to worry. And we don't have to, because the Spirit of God will come upon all those who believe. And we will be able to see the handiwork of God all around us. So I want to close today by asking you, have you seen the handiwork of God today? If you haven't, well, go look. I don't mean go to the mountains or go to the beach. You can do that, but just walk around and look and see how much God cares. And then, if you're still doubting He cares about you, just remember this: the Spirit of God will come upon all people, and all who receive Him will be saved. Thanks so much for listening. If you have a prayer, concern, or need, let us know. We'll do whatever we can as fast as we can to help meet those needs. I'll be back tomorrow to finish my conversation with the book of Joel.